And welcome back, everybody. Little Ditch, the Black River Canal. There's the DVD, the cover, and that is a DVD put together by the father and son team of our David White and Matthew White. And the narration is done by one Michael Doyle, who knows something about the canals, particularly over in the Forestport area. David?
Yeah, Michael Doyle put a book out in 2004 on Syracuse University Press called The Forestport Breaks, a 19th century conspiracy on the Black River Canal. And it was about a period in the late 1890s when some of the citizens of Forestport, the lumber industry was declining, so they decided to put some artificial breaks in the canal, and the state would come in and spend money, and people would stay at their hotels and drink at the bars.
Yeah. And Mike Doyle, a reporter for the McClatchy newspapers, if I recall correctly, out of Washington, D.C. So there you had that kind of corruption going on. How about on the Black River Canal? Any problems there, Matt?
Of course, there's a lot of history with the canals in New York State of corruption, even the Erie Canal, of people getting contracts, through political connections, getting kickbacks, and of course that was certainly a history with the Black River Canal. The Forestport was really the biggest corruption on the canal, where the people of the town.
They actually got together. I mean, it was almost a conspiracy, wasn't it?
Yep, they decided that, well, and what Michael Doyle in the actual film talks about is that legacy, that they were really following what bigger politicians and bigger names had done, but there was one quote that was kind of funny where it said the men of Forestport went about it brutally instead of, very more politically correct, genteel manner, yes. And so basically they just got together and said, well, you know what, how can we bring some money into town? So they got together and decided, if we put a break in the side of the canal, the water will flow out, do damage, the state will have to come in and fix it to keep the canal working, and all the workers would be spending money at the bars, saloons, hotels, and people would make money with businesses there that needed to provide the service to actually fix the canal.
And they were right. That's what happened.
And that's what happened.
It worked so well, they did it 3 years in a row, and that was maybe not a good thing.
Until the state finally said, well, there's something a little odd about what's going on here with all these breaks. And, of course, they sent the Pinkerton group in, investigated, and made arrests.
They did some undercover work or something, if I recall correctly, didn't they?
Yeah, they came in and basically interviewed everybody in town. So there were people that ratted on the breakers, and of course those people that ratted were not popular in town after that, because once again this was not, it was not criminals. These were business people in town that came up with this idea, and really it was an idea to make the town prosper, yes.
Where did the idea to come from for you and your son to do a history on the Black River Canal?
Well, I suppose my mother actually had something to do with it, and it's unfortunate that she didn't live to see this project completed. She died 2 years ago, but she used to live in Lyons Falls. She grew up there in the 1930s. Of course, that was after the canal had actually closed, but she used to talk about skating on the turning basin and the shops along the downtown street. She used to get their wares right out of the canal boats through the back door of the store, and it was something that she sort of held dear and talked about it through her life. So I think I always sort of had that idea. And then with all the other developments with the museum coming together and the book Forestport Breaks, and it just seemed natural to put the whole story together.
Yeah. How long did it take to put together on your DVD?
It took about 3 years.
Matt, the name Fourth Coast Productions, where's that name come from?
Well, that's the name. In '99, my father and I, we decided to form a production company And we came up with Fourth Coast Productions. We live, the company, our office is in Sackett's Harbor, New York. So we thought, well, the Great Lakes, it's a term referred to by not just us, other people also, that the Great Lakes is the fourth coast of the United States. You have the Atlantic, Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, and then the Great Lakes. So it was we thought it was a good name. It was a little bigger than a local name, so that's where it came from. And really, this film is our breakthrough. Really, we've worked up from '99 until this, and it's really been paying off.
Well, talking about breakthrough, that's a good segue, RD, into what's going on with the PBS stations in New York. Talk about that.
Well, we've been in contact with a number of stations, and they've agreed to run the Little Ditch this winter or spring on the statewide PBS network called Bright Ideas. Think Bright.
Think Bright.
Sorry.
Okay. And we don't know yet when that's going to be. We're still waiting for a definite date, correct?
Yes, there's still some details to be worked out, but preliminary, it's on.
Yeah, and that will mean a lot for you guys. I can't imagine what that's going to mean, but it's got to mean a lot, Matt.
Yeah, it's a breakthrough for us because it'll be our first statewide broadcast of a original project we've developed. But it is also a chance to get it out there to a bigger audience. And there's an audience out there for history.
I agree.
So it'll get it out there and to people that haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and what you've done is you've taken postcards and pictures and interviews, modern day interviews, and pictures, I think, from the Erie Canal in Rome, and you've put that all together to tell the story, correct?
Yep, it basically was a big research project just to go around, find all the pictures, which consisted from an archive of postcards and pictures that we have actually been gathering over the years, and also going to the state archives in Albany, and also private collections, and a few through the Boonville Black River Canal Museum, and it's kind of you kind of have to dig, and eventually you gather everything and put it to form.
In fact, there's one of the people's modern day interview that you did with Ken Clark.
Yep.
When we come back, we'll talk about Ken Clark. We're talking about the Black River Canal, the Little Ditch, as it was called, and that is the name of a new DVD by the father and son combination of Matthew and R.D. White. Stay with us. More about the Black River Canal